Hi, everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and we are live on a Friday evening, which means it's time for us to talk about coping with life, and in particular, how to save some money. Tonight, what we're going to be doing is making a cheese platter. And the reason for that is I need to go to a celebration of life tomorrow, and I said I would bring a plate of cheeses. Now, the thing is that I'm certain most of you say, just pick one up on the way to the store. For the number of people, for a number of people that are going to be there, you might think that something like this might do. I would need 2 of those. And by the way, in Canada, that cheese plate costs literally just shy of $100. It's actually $98.99. So, and it would feed, they reckon, somewhere between 24 and 34 people. I think that's what they said. Yeah, 24 to 34. So what I decided, and you remember I bought the slicer for this very reason, that I would do mine slightly differently. And I want to talk to you a little bit about the psychology of it all as I go through it. So bear with me. I just want to move the lights onto here so you can see better. I've got lots of light coming from there and it's not working. So just hold on 1 second. You can get some different shadows going here. And just before I came on live, I managed to knock a whole thing of water over, so it was a bit chaotic. So here we have the slicer. You remember I invested less than $50 on this thing, and it's already paid for itself, as you will see. So really important. Now, in terms of creating this, I want to ask you, if you saw this on a table, how many pieces of cheese would you take if you had a pair of tongs? Part of what I want to talk to you about is the psychology of what we're going to do. And be honest with yourself. If you had a pair of tongs, would you pick up 4 or, what do you reckon? And think about that, because the question is, Jody's saying maybe 4 or 5, all right? And now then, if you saw slices like this, how many of these would you pick up? Again, maybe 4 or 5. Sort of. Let me just show you what they look like. They're quite nice sizes. That one, not so much. Well, so if they were like this, how many slices? The reason I'm asking you is because if you think about the psychology of this, that's where you make the difference. Jody's saying 2, and I agree with you. So what we will do is we will do some in cubes, but then we're going to get really smart about the cubes, and we'll do some in slices. So the first thing that I did was I got one of my platters out, and I'm going to take a number of these. Hi, Chris. I'm going to take a number of these with me, all right? And I've got some paper doilies for them. And what we're going to do is we're going to do one plate the way we'd like to see it, right? So I'm putting down some press and seal here. And what I thought we would do is make one ideal plate, and then we could duplicate it. So let me get that sort of to the center. Now, I've also decided what I'm going to do is make some dip. So I'm going to put the dip thing in the center, like that. And then we're going to start playing with this. Okay, so this amount of cheese, and this was half a kilo, so that's a pound of cheese, all right, already is nicely the sort of size we want it. That saves a lot of time. So what I'm going to do here is just put some press and seal down. That'll do. And then we can slice this. Hope you all had a good week. I'm hoping to be able to show you that we can create more food than was on that platter for probably half the price. How many of you are going, that'll be interesting. All right, so here is my block of cheese, and I'm going to cut it. Oh, that's how I managed to knock it over last time. One, two. So I'm thinking if the psychology is right, if most people would pick up two at a time, then to actually put them together in twos wouldn't be a bad idea. What do you think? So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So that is 6. But I think if they're actually in twos, and obviously in twos, what do you think about the psychology? I'm now beginning to think, maybe not. Let's try it, see how many we can do. So that would be, remember when we're doing slicing cheese to keep turning the block of cheese. Oops. 1, 2. 3. I think it's because my fingers are a bit oily from the cheese. Okay, I think we're just about there. Oops, like that, okay? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so what do you think? Oh, asking whose life are we celebrating? My very dear friend Yvonne's daddy died during the pandemic, and this is his celebration of life. We've waited 2 years. So there we go. So that's what it would look like. Now, do you want to see what it looks like when we do cubes, right? Roughly the same amount, because that's important so we can see. Just going to cover that up so it doesn't dry. So we're going to do it much bigger. Say about that size. Let's try one. Wrong way, sir. Okay. I cut that completely the wrong way. All right, is that about, let's see how much that is, maybe a bit too much. That's about that is about 2 ounces of cheese, okay? So if we take that and we cube it, it would look like this. I think that's a bit too big myself, so we're going to come back a bit. Let's try that. So basically, what we've got here now, the reason I wanted to show you this like this is because we're going to get creative with it. Okay, so this is basically the block of cheese is about 1 plate's worth. All right, now we need to make it go a lot further than that. So here's what I'm suggesting. How many of you remember we did a really good deal on some ham in a complete thing, and we froze it? So now, and we sliced it, remember? So now what I'm going to do is to make a ham and cheese stick. See how that goes. Now we're just using a little bit less cheese, but getting more creative. So if we do Okay, I'm just going to show you in a second. Let me just get a couple of these done. Now then, if you saw those on a plate, and this is why I want to sort of discuss this with you. If you saw those on a plate, how many would you put on your plate? Would you still put 4 or would you put a couple? Be honest. You're trying to show the psychology of this. You see, the thing is, it depends what it looks like as to how many you will put on your plate and how many there are of them. Think about that. Does that make sense? You take 2 now. Yeah, and I agree with you, Jody. I think I would as well. So, and Isabel says that. Now, we use 1 slice of ham. Does it make all the difference? And then, let's do a couple that are cheese and tomato. Just, to make it pretty. Whoops. Nearly there. How's it looking now? All right. Still got the same amount of cheese, but now we're just making it look different. Yeah, Jody's saying it really does make it look quite different, right? And that's what I'm saying, that if you're going to do the cubes, make sure that you make the cubes work for you. Now, we've got some that have got ham, we've got some that with tomatoes, all right? And people can now choose. Now, what I'm going to do is do one more thing. Let me get the cubes out for a second. And now, makes sense? The completely different looking plate. Would you agree? Hi, Jax. Good to see you. And now if I put dip in here, the chances are they're going to pick up a cracker and dip it in there. How many of you can see that that has got a block of cheese in it, but we've got lots of variety now? All right. Now, I want to put that cheese away because I think that makes quite a nice little cheese plate. Would you agree? So basically, we're saying people would take 2 of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. That's about 20 helpings on there. All right? So that's what we need to know. A plate full is about 20 helpings. And that's without the dip. So I just want to put this back in the fridge for a second. Because, you know, what if you put bacon on it as well? Not as well, but as one of the options, right? So what I'm going to do here is just put this cheese away for a moment. I just don't want it to get... So how many we're saying? Roughly 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, about 14 cubes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so that's roughly a cupful. Now, the reason why I'm going to be measuring this out, and I won't do it while you're all waiting because it will be, Beth's going, may I have 2 servings? Yes. Of which one? But can you see that with a bit of creativity, oh, we forgot we can be even more creative, right? Because what if now we take exactly the same, and actually let's just sort of ring the changes up a bit here. We'll put the crackers there and the crackers there. And then now what I did before the broadcast is I took 2 bags of grapes, 1 red and 1 green, and I cut them into little amounts like this. All right? So now and I left the stalks on them so they're easy to pick up. You see, you can just pick them up by the stalk. They are all washed. Oh, I forgot to cut that one. We can do that. We need some there. Now what have we got? All right. Isn't it amazing how it changes the look of it? So I think that's quite a nice cheese platter. What do you think? Just like that. Now, what we're gonna make the dip to go in there in a second. However, yeah, I reckon that works beautifully. And that's $10 worth of cheese. Yeah, some fruit, one slice of ham. Right? And it changed from being a very wimpy looking plate to being one that looks quite full. Now, if we can have 2 or 3 of those going down the table, then that works. Now, what I thought I would do is make 2 or 3 to start with, and then the rest of it I'm going to package. And the reason I'm going to package it is because we don't know how many people are going to turn up. It could be anywhere from 50 to 150. All right? So I've got a whole lot of cheese here, and I've got a whole lot of crackers. Plenty of crackers. But you understand, I don't have to use it all tomorrow. What I'm going to do is take it. So if we need it, we've got it. But I'm going to package it up in such a way that if I bring it home, I can stick it, I can stick the ham back in the freezer. I can stick the cheese into the freezer. Is this making sense? So I'm going to make little groups where I know, okay, this needs to go with, oh, and by the way, another thing is this. What about if we have a cube of cheese and a grape? Some of these grapes are single. All right? Again, another choice. I wonder how it tastes. So, and the idea is you're not going to need a plate because you've got your own means of eating it. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I bought all sorts of different crackers. That I can take. And it means I'm going to spend a little bit more time at the back. But here's the thing I was thinking, and I don't know about the rest of you. I would rather not have all this cheese out getting stale and nasty and all the rest of it. You know what I mean? So I would rather, here we go. So I bought some dippers for the dip as well, that we haven't even got those on the plate yet. And I bought a lot of smaller binter because they're easy and they're about the size of the cheese. So here's the next thing. If we said people will take about 2. I'm thinking they'll take 2 of these and put 2 bits of cheese on it. I'm not going to do it for them because that will, that will waste a lot of cheese that might not be used. Right? Is this making any sense to anybody? And how many of you can see the logic of it? Basically, I spent the same amount. Where's the picture, people? Yep. I spent the same amount as this, and I reckon I can feed 3 times as many people with it. Now, is that creative? And all I'm doing is just presenting it in a totally different way. So what I will do is I will take my bag of crackers. I will take a set of 6 platters with these on and extra ones. And then the first 3 will go out, and while they're eating the first 3, I will be making the second 3. How many of you can see what I'm going to be up to after I finish the broadcast? Pretty nifty. And just in case you want to know How much do you allow? And one of the things I always do whenever I'm trying to do something like this, I go and I ask Google, or I go to the catering thing and I go, I've got this much cheese, how many people can I feed with it? Or how much cheese do I need for this many people? All right. And you'll get the answer. And it's far less than you think it is. So then if you take that and get really creative with it, you can double the amount of people you feed. That is my point. So that's what I'm going to be up to this evening. What is it? Yeah, so I spent $100. I still spent $100, but you understand I'll be bringing out plate after plate after plate of food for that $100, or I'll be bringing it home and putting most of it in my freezer or back in my pantry. I'm not going to open up the boxes of crackers. I'm only going to open them up as I need them. So whatever's left, going back in the bag and coming home with me. Can you see why that stays out on a table? Only one person can get to it. And I've got a feeling people will shovel cheese onto their plate, which we don't want. The idea is not to give them a 4-course meal. The idea is to give them nibblies. And if you present it in a nibbly way, that's how they'll eat it. And the other thing is this, all right? If you just put it so there's only this much there, they're a little bit less hesitant to overload their plate. You know, they'll take a little bit from this plate and then go to the next, maybe the fruit section, and take a little bit of fruit, and then go to the vegetable section and take a little bit of vegetables. But what I also did, some of them are going to be bacon. All right. And again, I'm going to cook them a little bit more. I want them a bit more crispy than this. But if I use them, great. You know, they're going to be in a baggie on their own. But if I use them, great. And if I don't, they're coming back and they'll be added to my mac and cheese or anything else that I want little bacon bits for. And I think I used 8 rashers of bacon, and I've got two complete layers. So, and also just a little bit of bacon on the dip will make it very appealing to a lot of people. Okay, I just want to cover that. It's an easier way. Come on, here we go. And I guess you all know what I'm going to be having for supper. The reason I know about this was when I was researching this slicer, I saw a guy who said this slicer for him pays for itself whenever he entertains. He can get away with half the amount of food by slicing it properly, and yet it looks like an enormous amount of food. And it's just because it's sliced properly. Remember, like the ham and everything else. Look how far one slice of ham went. Very good. Now then. I learned an incredible thing this week. I think it's incredible. How many of you still buy whole milk? I've been buying it because I like the taste of it with my cereal. But I spend probably $5 or $6 every 2 weeks on whole milk. I found out something that blew my mind yesterday. If you buy for the same price as a quart of milk, if you buy half a quart, whatever you call that in American, we call it a liter. Or maybe a liter is a quart. Yeah, okay. So if you buy a quart of cream, is this a quart to you? I got to make sure. Or is this 2 quarts? Yeah, for the Canadians, it's a liter, give or take. It's a little less, but it's a liter. So, all right, Americans, wherever you are, let me know, just so we get it right. But here's what I didn't know. Do you know that you can turn regular cream, this is whipping cream, you can turn regular cream, thank you, Jody, this is a quart. All right, so you can turn regular whipping cream into whole milk. Did you know that? I didn't. And this amount of, it's going to blow your mind, this amount of whipping cream, the same price as a 2 liters of 3%, will make 10 times the amount of milk. So if I make it with 1 liter, this 1 liter of cream will make 10 liters of whole milk. You just mix it, Jax, 10 to 1 to, in other words, 10 whatevers of water and 1 whatever of the cream, and mix it up. Yep. And one thing it'll have missing is the sugar content that goes into milk. So, you could then get to choose, do I want to add a little bit of sweetener to it, or a little bit of honey, or whatever it is you want to add to it. But can you believe that? So if you only buy whole milk to bake with, you may want to think about this. What if you buy a jar of whipping cream, or a container of whipping cream, and freeze it? And then whenever you need to use whole milk, you just bring out, maybe you bring out this size of cream and do 10 times this in water, and you got a whole lot of good cream, a good 3%. Now, that lends the question, if we can make whole milk out of it, does it make sense that we can also make 2%? I haven't found out what the ratio is yet, but I would imagine you just take the whole milk and water it down even more. So I thought that was amazing. So for the same price of 2 liters of whole milk, that's what this is, the same price of it, I can make 10 liters. I think that's amazing. 5 times as much. That blew my mind completely. Right, so that was one thing I learned this week. And what else did I have to share with you? Something else, I think. Maybe not. But what I wanted you to see is, we don't all have a lot of money, all right? And therefore, how you use it is really important. Can you see I'm going to package all this stuff up in such a way that if I do not use it, I'm going to pick it up and bring it home and put it all back in the freezer, and it'll already be pre-packed, ready to go in the freezer. Does that make sense to you? I will not open up the crackers unless I need to. And then they come back, they're going back into the pantry. And to me, that is clever. I will take a cutting board with me, and I will take a sharp knife with me so I can cut up more ham as I need to, rather than cut the ham all up first. But, it's going to be a pretty easy process And I would like you to think about it. For those of you, we're going into summer. For those of you in North America, and for those of you south of the equator, you're going into winter. But when you think about, you're going to go to a barbecue or something and you're going to take a plate of food, I think taking a plate like that looks pretty impressive. As I said, I spent $10 on cheese for that, and a little bit more on tomatoes and a couple of slices of ham. All right, so Jax is saying, yes, the only one you would have difficulty making would be the skim milk, all right? But then you could skim the milk. All right, what do you just need to let the fat rise to the top and skim it? That's what skim milk is. Or what if you filtered it through coffee filters? The coffee filters would absorb the fat. It's just like there are so many ways. Jody, I know that you buy, and I have done, did you know you can buy whole milk powder? Not cheap. Just want to tell you, it's not cheap, but you can buy it. So if you only use whole milk to cook with, you might want to think about it. I personally don't like the taste of this that much. I don't mind using it for baking, but it doesn't work for me with my cereal. So that's why I, had to think about it a while. All right, guys. So you obviously realize that I am off to do a lot of prepping this evening. I wondered whether I should think about what I'm going to wear. I'll get to that in a while. But I think if I just get slicing and dicing, I can get most of it done in about an hour and have it ready in such a way that I can, take it with me. I'll keep it all in the fridge tonight, and except for the crackers and stuff, and then just take it with me. So I hope that some of you got some ideas. I'm certain a lot of you will like this one. So now I just need to blend this, and I can I already make my own butter with this, right? So now I've got cream for the week, I've got butter for the week, and I've got whole milk for the week. Who thought of that? For $6. I've got it all. What I will do is I will make some and then let you know how it tastes. I'll do a taste test. How about that? So I did get different sorts of cheese. I got some white cheese. I've got a little bit of camembert, not camembert, a little bit of brie. I'm only letting half of that go. The rest of it's mine for the month. And so I think it could be quite creative and, look well presented without a whole lot. The grapes, I did work it out. The whole lot, including the crackers and the grapes and everything else, cost me, I think, $110. And I think I can feed everybody and still take stuff home. So there we go. All right. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And I will see you on Sunday when we were going to be talking about coping with stress, and I will let you know how stressful it was. By the way, what I did is I said to Yvonne, after the celebration of life, they're all going off to a pub somewhere to celebrate. Well, that's going to be really difficult for me because I'm hard of hearing. So I said, I volunteer myself as the cleanup person. So just know that I'm going to be staying behind while everybody else goes off to the pub. And I will clean up and then I will quietly go home. So Yvonne knows I'm going to do that, and she and I already talked about that. And then on Monday, we will be doing the internment. So that's a whole different story with, very different emotion attached to it. So a lot to do, and I think I've got enough time. I've just, what is it? I'm nearly 8. I reckon I should be done by about 10 if I do this well. But I probably need to stop talking and start doing. This is Dear Mama Sal saying, look at the amount of money that I have saved and look at what you can do if you just, for the sake, and I would recommend this, for the sake of some long toothpicks. Get the long ones. They always look much better on a plate, to my mind. This is Dear Mama Sal saying, thanks for being here. Hope that gave you some food for thought, and we will see you on Sunday, hopefully, And if I can find my mouse, I'll be out of here. Thanks for being here. And let's try another way of saving a lot of money. Bye-bye for now.